Hey guys! Today I'm going to be talking about all the books and mangas that have made me ugly cry. This is a video I've been wanting to do for a while, even though a lot of books don't make me ugly cry. I've cried during a lot of books, don't get me wrong. It's just they haven't made me full-blown, uncontrollably, red-faced cry. I'm not going to go into much details about the book, so if you haven't read any of these books, I apologize in advance, but I will not be talking about them other than what about them made me cry. Spoiler free, of course. To start things off, I want to briefly mention Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. The book itself didn't make me cry, but the fact that it was the last book in that world did. And even though we have The Cursed Child and the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them screenplay, I still consider Deathly Hallows the last book in that world. Next up is Allegiant by Veronica Roth, and this book didn't make me cry really at the end. I cried a little bit because it was just a really sad thing that happened, but I think that I would have ugly cried if I hadn't known that it was going to happen in the first place. I feel like I would have cried a whole lot more and just been an emotional wreck if I hadn't known it was coming. Next up is Forgive Me, Leonard Peacock by Matthew Quick. Truthfully, this entire book really depressed me, and I cried at multiple points, but I think how depressing the book was up to the end, it started turning more hopeful for Leonard, is what really just made me bust into tears, because he had gone through so much and he was still going through so much, but things were actually starting to look up. Somebody actually cared. Next up is Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare. And this probably isn't a big shock to many of you, and I think this is actually the hardest I've ever cried in a book. I wasn't very emotionally attached to the series, but that epilogue is just such a killer. When you read books, you don't normally have an epilogue with such a dramatic event happening to one of the characters, but you're actually not there to see it. And I think that's what actually made it more depressing. I actually started ugly crying during my discussion for this book. I left it in there too. I got emotional. I wasn't ashamed to show it. And the last book that made me ugly cry is Lourdes Shadows by Cassandra Clare. Recently finished this not too long ago. I should hopefully have a discussion video up for this book by now, so many of you may have seen it. I don't know. It's gonna be long, I can tell you that. Never think, just because there are only 3 pages left of the book, that something horrifying and earth-shattering won't happen. Because it will. It will. And I'm starting to cry now. It's too soon to talk about this. Okay, so let's move on to the mangas that made me cry. There's only 2 of them. If you're not interested in hearing about mangas, I more than understand if you don't watch the rest of this video. The first one that ever made me cry was Lovelace. And the main reason I cried in this at several points is how the main character is treated, because I can't exactly remember his age because it's been a while since I've actually read it, but so many horrible things happen to this child, and sadly most of them are at home. And then later on in the series, a certain character comes back that stirs up a lot of emotional turmoil. Really, I can think of 3 types of abuse off the top of my head that this kid is going through. In the last manga series that made me cry was probably a big surprise. Big Hero 6. If you've seen the movie, this is actually slightly different. One of the alterations that they made in this series was how the brother disappears. It's actually led to be a possibility that he could save his brother in this series, and the way everything turns out in the end, it's happy, but it's also sad, and I couldn't help but cry. And I think the main reason I cried during the series is because he's so young and going through this. I think he's supposed to be like 14, but he looks like he's like 10 or 12, and he's just too young to be going through all the stuff that he's going through. Well, those are all the books and mangas that have made me ugly cry. And is it sad that I'm looking forward to making another one of these videos, hopefully in the next year or so? You guys should let me know in the comments below what books or mangas or comics or any other kind of literacy has made you ugly cry. Well, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!